Resume. Okay, you guys, I'm so excited. I, first of all, have not seen Blake Graham forever, and we haven't seen him, gosh, I think the last time we had you in our group was to talk about the Keto Fizz, so I'm so happy that I was able to see you. But when I saw you on Saturday in a live, I was like, oh my gosh, where's Blake? Half of him is missing. So I immediately was tuned in, trying to figure it out. And I know that some new products were being announced and you came on to tell about a couple of them, which I always love your information because you explain it in terms that I understand. And if I don't understand, you explain it until we do. But we have Blake on here today because there is a new product release that mine is in the mail. I am so anxious to get it. But a lot of people have been asking me questions and I'm not an expert on it. So the one who is an expert on it is now sitting right in front of you. So just so you know, this video is pre-recorded. So you are welcome to ask questions in the bottom and we will get back to you, but they won't be answered live. And then as soon as this video is over, I'm attaching another video to show you how you can get this product if it's something that you want to try. So stay tuned. But Blake, first, I don't know, tell people what's been going on with you, what you've been doing.
Well, it is exciting and I'm glad to be on. I have kind of kept this under wraps a little bit, but back when we were looking at, that's one of the reasons if you're on the Facebook Live, you don't get that impact as much, right? But that's back several months ago when they were looking at the Muscadine and bringing it on and making it really a focal point of Willa Vita. One of the things that I got excited about was this Muscadine grapeseed oil, and many people have heard about grapeseed oil. You can use it a little bit for cooking. They use it a lot with essential oils, but the Muscadine grapeseed oil is different from all of those others. And the reason it's different is it's a different plant and it's got, they talk about the extra chromosome sometimes, but it's got a lot of these hard to get oils. And one of the main ones here that we're going to go to, and I'm just going to jump to a screen so that you can see it here. Let me share my screen with you. The main one is something called tocotrienols, and hopefully everybody can see that now.
Yeah, let me move our faces here out of the way. Okay.
Yeah, it's tocotrienols, and if you look at what muscadine is kind of a combination grape and berry. And in Mother Nature, plants can't run away when there's an invader. If they get, mold, they can't say, well, I just have to move, get in a car and move to a drier environment. They don't. They're stuck. And so the good Lord has made it so that they protect themselves by creating nutrients. And that's why if you've ever heard of something that's vine ripened, when it's ripe, it's had more time to absorb minerals, to create vitamins, to make those antioxidants. So getting something that's not ripe and then chemically forcing it to get ripe, you don't have the same nutritional value. Well, these are kind of the king, if you would, of creating antioxidants because you see all these, they look like dots or scars or blemishes on it. Every time they get hit by whether it's insects or too much sunlight, the heat, mold, whatever it is, it to repair and rebuild itself, it creates more of these nutrients. And it's especially rich in something called tocotrienols. Now, when I say it's not the whole berry, it's the seed. And if you can imagine taking those seeds and chewing on grape seeds, it's probably not a good experience for a lot of people. But they produce enough of this muscadine, and they've got so many of the grape seeds that they can squeeze what would be probably hundreds of pounds of these and pull some oil out. And this oil has incredible properties. And that's what we're going to talk about is one called tocotrienols. You say, what are tocotrienols? And this was something that I had to go through an education process. I was impressed that it's in the medical literature. But if you think of something called vitamin E is actually a family. And when you call vitamin E, there's 4 different kinds. There's an alpha, there's a beta, there's a delta, and there's a gamma. So there's 4 different types of vitamin E's, but actually there's 8 in the family. See, there's a Vitamin E is saturated, and there's an unsaturated vitamin E. Think of that as they're in the same family, the good-looking sister, right, that you didn't know about. But this is one that has incredible benefits. And when you look at our diets today, very few food sources have a lot of these tocotrienols, and so people have been missing out. But fortunately, this muscadine grapeseed oil is rich in it, and there's a lot of research in it. And one of the research that I got excited about is this one from the University of Florida that was published in the Journal of Food and Function. And it's on PubMed, and you can see the number 260-73057 for those that like to, double check everything, right? Trust but verify. Sometimes we've heard that, right? Because it's more than just a good story. It's actually got fantastic research. And so when you look at the benefits of these, in the medical literature, you're seeing incredible antioxidants. Well, we hear a lot about the antioxidants with the muscadine grape and how great that is. But the nerve and the brain support is stronger in the oils because you've got hundreds of pounds compressed into a very small amount. Heart support, skin and hair support, the liver support, bone health support, immune support, blood sugar support. These are all incredible benefits. And I know, I get on these Zooms and a lot of people say, I haven't seen you in months. You look younger. And that's a good thing, right? And
you really
I just
do.
learned.
And your skin is like porcelain.
Yeah, I just learned that like Vanessa Hunter is putting this on her face. And so I started trying that today. I have not been putting it on my face. I've just been taking it internally. But I have been taking a lot of it, right? And I'll tell you about that. Because, there's other great research on blood sugar levels. And one of the things that I always see, there's such a number of people that are fighting on any number of disease. Remember, we talked about the rise of diabetes, the rise of ADD and ADHD, the rise of, autism, right? Just through the roof on how quickly these diseases are going up. There's got to be something we can do to help about it. So we've been looking at blood sugar support, and this is one of those that's got some great blood sugar support research to it, but it's more than that. This is one that when I started to share it, I saw a lot of people saying, well, let's put this into the scalp. And if you're going to do that, it is an oil. But if you ever use oil in your hair to set your hair, this would be a great one. I don't know. I think we're going to have to experiment with this. But these were people not putting it on their hair. They're drinking it as a supplement. But they showed people with hair loss that doing this over 8 months, and they were using 100 milligrams of tocotrienols. That's a lot of product, okay? A day. And when they were doing that, at the end of this 8 months, there was a 34.5% increase of the number of hair follicles in a certain area, right? So actually, you could see more hair follicles. Now, the hair follicles were the same size. They say there was no change in size. So where the other people, the control group, continued to lose their hair slowly, this group regained it. And that's absolutely incredible. So I think there'd be a huge market here, and I'm excited to see people's testimonials on this as they start to use more of the product. But the one that got me excited about that, I said, I have to see if this works. And I've loved keto for a long time, but I was never the keto champion. I had lost some weight, but I could never make it past the 30-pound mark. And I had lost some and then gained some back. Not all of it back. A lot of keto, if they gain it back, they gain half or so. But with this one, I got excited about it because it wasn't actually for keto research. It was research on just using a dropper full of the oil before you eat. And I thought, well, that's incredible. Let me start doing that. And so I started doing it. And what they find, and this is what the research shows, and this is from Newswire. You can see this all over the place. It was published in that from the University of Florida. They are the ones that did the research. But if you use this oil, and it can be so easy. This is one of the things I loved about it. You can just take it. You get a dropper full. Now, that's only a half a dropper full because my bottle is just about empty on this one. And you just take a dropper full before you eat. Now, if I was having a meal that wasn't fully keto, you need the high fat ratios, I was using 2 dropperfuls or extra there because it is fat. And I want to bring up that fat ratio. A lot of people make the mistake, and as a keto coach, you've seen this, that they want a high fat meal, but they really have a high protein meal. They get a chicken salad. And it's like, okay, where's the fat? Well, it's low carb. Well, it is low carb. It's just not high fat. We need to increase the fat. You add butter, you add avocado. Some people do the extra cream cheese. I love bringing a shake to that, especially the new keto fuel. and how great that tastes, especially in your recipes. Just absolutely incredible. But I would just use this. And other people, Todd says, well, it works really good in the Keto Fizz, and I'm excited about the new. I'm going to call it the Keto Kick, right? It's the Split and Go Kick, but it's the Keto Kick. It's got that extra BHB salts. But I started using this. And what the research says is instead of taking those calories from your meal and using them to build fat, we're going to take them and redirect that. Don't create any more fat cells. Let's rebuild the nerves. Let's rebuild the bones. Let's rebuild the brain. Let's rebuild something else. So you take this incredible member of the vitamin E family that nobody's even heard about, and you start to use it. And what you see is this. Instead of making fat cells, we start to redirect brain and nerve support. We start to see more help with that thing. You know that thing where you've got a word there and you can't get to it, right? That's one of the things fat will do, is it'll help rebuild your brain. Some people call it a fat blocker. It's not a fat absorption blocker, okay? It doesn't stop your body from absorbing fat. It's a fat creation blocker. It stops your body from building fat, right?
Building new fat cells. And stuff. So
don't make a fat cell.
Important, because a lot of people are seeing that it says fat blocker, and they're like, well, isn't that counterintuitive to what we're doing?
Especially with keto, right? Yeah.
Right, because like, if I'm going to use this, I mean, I'm keto for life, so I've got to make sure I'm not causing issues.
Yeah, it's not a creation blocker. It actually fits with the keto really well. See, people thought mistakenly, eat fat, get fat, right? Eat fat, build fat. And the truth is, eat fat, burn fat. Well, this is one that helps with that eat fat, burn fat. And how it does that, it takes the calories. And even people not on a ketogenic diet, instead of using those calories to make fat cells, let's use nerve cells or brain cells instead. Well, that's a lot better, right? That's a lot better. I'd like to have more nutrition up here and less area around my waist, right? And so this was a fabulous keto support product. And, you know, I would use 1 or 2 of these dropperfuls before meals. And if it was kind of a low fat meal, and, you know, here we know people, it's all about the people. People are the most important. If your spouse makes a meal that is expected to be keto, but it's really not high fat, it's probably best not to be very critical, right? Especially when they put a lot of time into it. So I'm like, I'm going to add the fat on my own. It is a good low carb meal, but let me just add the fat to my own. And so this is something I could do without any discussion in the family, right? I don't have to say anything, and I start to use that. And it's been a big help. This is lighter than I have been in over 20 years. And
I want to know how much you've lost. I'm serious. Like, I was almost like, where's Blake? I have not seen Blake forever. And then when I saw you, my jaw hit the ground. Like,
it's been exciting. It's been exciting. And I'm excited for some of the other products because, you know, the new burn with the B vitamins in it. B vitamins are so important. Clearing out bacteria, clearing out, you know, I've actually seen some great research on blood sugar support and energy levels and so many things. But they're so important. So I wasn't just doing the oil. It's not like I sat around and drank oil all day, right? But I've been using the shake. I've been using the new burn. And I like this. I mean, I don't know. I think I like it. I probably go more than a bottle a week. I probably do 5 bottles a month, I think is what I'm probably averaging there. But anytime you can rebuild the brain instead of building fat, it's a good thing. And I don't know how it's going to be for everyone else, but with keto, I loved keto, but it was hard for me. And it wasn't hard to eat that way. It was hard. I was one of those that had to be super, super strict, not a 99% strict. We're talking 100% strict.
Right.
For a couple of weeks before the fat would start to come off. With this, it's easier. And if you make it easier, people get better results. And that's why I get excited about it.
And you're not alone in that. I mean, there's some people where keto just connects right away with their body, and there's some where it takes a little bit more time, or we have to experiment and try a few different things. So here's a question I have for you. So I'm one of those people who I take a lot of supplements daily, right? I use my high impact ginger, my high impact turmeric. I take Kale for detoxing. I use my Muscadine grape capsules and all of that stuff. And I plan on doing that forever, right? Right now, I think we're realizing more than ever that health should be our top priority.
Absolutely.
And so my question for you is, this oil is not necessarily a replacement for those, but it's in addition to, like, I don't want, I want it to be an added tool for what we're already doing. I'm dying to get mine. I feel like a kid waiting for Christmas morning. Like, I'm going to be at that mailbox every day. But
well, that's an excellent point. When you look at the research and what they were saying, one comment that came after every research: if only this was commercially available, if only we could get more than just a small trace amounts out of the food we eat. But fortunately, when they're doing that, they're doing enough quantity of the muscadine grape that they're pressing the seed and getting this oil, and especially with Jerry Smith, he recognized this early on, and he's actually been collecting the seeds, and he does a deep freeze on them. So, you can't grow mold on it. It's not even 32 degrees. You walk into his freezer, it's very cold. I can't remember what the temperature was, but it's negative something on the Fahrenheit scale. And what he does by doing that is he's preserving this, and he's been doing this for a long time, many, many years. So he has such a supply of these grape seeds and the grape skins that when they do the pressing, he can get it into production very quickly. And that's why I've been impressed, right? So it's a food. I didn't look at it as a supplement. I said it's a keto food. I want to add it on as a keto food.
Writing that down.
Some people use MCT oil. MCT oil is great. This is different. It's not MCT oil. It's the muscadine grapeseed oil. It's got a lot of these other benefits. And that's why, as a keto food, I was adding to it, and I'd go through a lot of product. A lot of people put it in, with their fizz or the new keto kick. And it's such a mild taste that most of the time you don't even taste it. You can put it in your shake. Mm-hmm. It's just a little extra fat, but a keto food means it's not replacing any supplements. It's just giving me extra nutrition from the food that I want, right? The one place that it looks like a supplement is when you talk about vitamin E. You've got kind of the sister to vitamin E there, that it'll get great benefits if you're doing brain support, brain support, heart support, anything that involves soft tissue in the body. It can work like a supplement, but really it's a food. And so I've just been adding it to it there. And even the study on the hair wasn't when they were rubbing it on their scalp. They were just consuming the oil, right? They were taking the tocotrienols on the inside. So if you think it helps with the hair, and that's the only part of the body it gets to, no, it helps with a lot of other things. It's just they were only studying that one element on that study. So yeah, it's a food for me. And I still say on the supplements, I have, the more we learn about the muscadine, I have increased how much muscadine I take. It's not 2 or 3 capsules a day. I mean, I'm doing, 6 or 8 a day because I just love the benefit of the muscadine. And those higher levels have seen a lot for blood pressure support and, how thin the blood is, and, hormonal support for both men and women. And we've heard a lot of those great things. This to me is just an extra add-on. It doesn't have all the nutrients of the whole muscadine grape and the seed and skin, because all they've done is pull the oil out. But in every dropper full, you're getting a couple bottles worth of the muscadine oil from you took your muscadine. Yeah, there's some oil in there. But you'd have to have a couple bottles of that to get, probably 1 dropper full. And I don't know the exact ratio, but that's kind of what you're looking at. Imagine taking your product that you have in the capsules and pressing that and getting oil out. That's what that oil is. That's all that is.
So it's like super high concentrate.
Right. You're getting a lot of value when it comes to the oil in that. And that's why it's so amazing. I had no idea that Vanessa Hunter saw such great results with getting rid of old scars with it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to start trying that on old scars.
Yeah.
But people have been saying, when I see somebody, they're like, wow, it's not just thinner, but thinner and younger. Is what we like to see with keto, right? Thinner and younger. You look like yourself from 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And that's what I'd like, we'd like to be that on the inside, right? Not just the outside,
right.
But I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. Okay, I only have just a couple minutes left, but I want to ask you one more question, because in the video in regards to the challenge. I'm going to be telling him about this. I'm too waiting for this product impatiently, but tell me, so Sport and Go Kick. I have to tell you, my kids love Sport and Go. They love Keto Fizz. In fact, they use it for their sports. And I like the Keto Fizz because then they're getting two sources of fuel to their brain and they're concentrating out there on the field and at school. But when I saw that there was a Keto Fizz coming out mixed with the Sport and Go, like, I was so excited.
Yeah, it's not mixed with the Sport and Go. Okay, so it's not.
It's totally different. Okay, so tell me about it then. See, I don't know all the details.
It looks like it's mixed with the Sport and Go, but it's not.
But it's not.
They're just branding it as the Sport and Go. So there's two.
Okay.
The original Sport and Go is what you're going to use for thyroid support. It's what you're going to use for adrenal support. It's got more of your B vitamins, right? Everything we talked about with the Sport and Go is the original. This new one is really a reformulation of the Fizz. And what they've done is, you know, our Fizz, the reason it was called Keto Fizz is because they had to use some carbonation to make it fizzy so that it didn't taste bad. Because when you're adding exogenous ketones, the BHB salts, they're nasty tasting. I remember we were working on a formulation. I'm like, just put it in the shake. But just a little bit in the shake, I couldn't drink the shake. And, you know, I'm one that hates to waste money. So if I've made it up, I still try to get it down, right? I couldn't get it down. And the effective dose isn't like milligrams, it's in grams, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of this BHB salt. Well, since we came out with the Fizz, research has continued to go on where they've made more effective versions of this BHB salts. And so in using these more effective versions, we can get away from the carbonation. So it's not going to be fizzy, right? So that's why they say we can't call it Keto Fizz.
There's no more fizzy. Fizz. I'm taking notes. Okay.
And they've actually increased the amount of BHB salts. And the other thing they did is because we're with the Muscadine, instead of getting this variety of fruits and vegetables to give us antioxidants, let's just use the Muscadine. You can get more bang for your buck with that. And in doing this reformulation, they've increased the amount of BHB salts to it and come down in the price to it's about a third of what it used to be. Instead of
and I love that you can scoop it and take as little or as much as that you want, depending on what you're wanting. Like, to me, that's phenomenal. And now I can just throw a canister in their gym bag, you know, and they have it with them.
Yeah, this is one that I'm excited to try it as well. They go through a lot of tests because, you know, they want to make sure we've kind of driven the bar up, you know, with the Sport and Go. It's hard to get something that tastes really good, that's good for you, but they've done it with that Sport and Go. And the standard is so high, we don't want any products that don't taste good. So all the new stuff, they go through it. But then when they came out with this, it was so good that I know a couple days later, Todd's asking around, hey, does anybody have any of your samples left? They're all gone. Everybody's used every last bit of it, right? I'm excited to try. I didn't even get a sample of that.
We may have a new gummy bear flavor coming out, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's going to be muscadine flavor. You know, it's kind of a berry. Awesome. And the taste is really good. We've got more BHB salts, and it's a third of the cost of what our Fizz was. You know, per serving. Instead of $5, we're at $1.67 a serving.
It's awesome.
So I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a fantastic product.
Which, parents, that is cheaper than a Gatorade, and it's nutrition and not garbage.
And it's good for your brain.
Yeah.
It's good for your energy. It's good for your hormones. You know, it's good for your nerves. It's good for so many things. Anti-aging, you know, blood sugar support, so many things. So I'm excited for that product. And I assume that we're going to be going through a lot of that product, right? And they did test it. So. You know, our creamy Fizz where you take it and you add the heavy whipping cream to it, right? They did test it, and the heavy whipping cream mixes really well with it. So that's good.
That's important.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're just about out of time here. Is there anything that you think needs to be shared that we haven't shared?
Well, one thing that I do need to say, and this is really kudos to you. When you're dealing with weight loss, it's better to do it as a team sport. It's so much better to do it as a team sport. One of the things that we see is people work harder on a team that they'll often do on their own. And so when you get involved with this, make sure you're part of the team. Make sure you're plugged in. Make sure you're listening, working with some great keto coaches, especially the elite keto coaches like Jennifer. Being part of, I know, your subscription for the recipes. Be a part of it. And let's do it together, because together we're going to get better results. We're going to get better education. We'll learn how each of us are using the products for the most benefit. We're going to help each other. And I say this all the time. When it comes to Bula Vita, really, the key is that it's all about the people. We want products that work with people. We want a model, a support structure that works with people. We want to help people see a difference in their lives, because it's all about the people. And I just wanted to say thank you for all you do to help support so many people with keto and health and all that we do with Bula Vita.
Thank you so much, Blake. I'm telling you, Blake has been my guy from the beginning. He's local here to where I live, and so I've learned so much of what I know from him, and have sent a lot of people to him for help too. So we're so grateful for you, and I'm so happy to see your face again here on camera. It's been really great. But okay, you guys, so we're going to say goodbye on this video, but stay tuned, because following this, I'm going to show you there is a special going on now until September 13th, where you can get the Mfinity Oil and the Sport and Go Kick for free. So pay attention so you can see how to do that. And I will be right back.